Hello students, today I am going to discuss Unit 4 of Elementary Communication Engineering. These are the contents. Please go through it. Now the part is diode detector. The circuit diagram for a practical diode detector has been shown here. As the direction of the diode has been reversed, the negative envelope will be demodulated. Due to this, a negative AGC voltage will be developed here. We will discuss AGC in next slide. R1 and R2 provide a series DC path, R1 and R2, and R1C1 here is the low pass filter, which is used to remove the RF ripple. The capacitor C2 is a coupling capacitor which prevents the diode DC output from reaching the volume control. Therefore, across R4 we get the demodulated signal with a 0 DC shift. This signal is then applied to the AF amplifier. And here the R3C3 combination forms also a low pass filter. It is designed to remove the AF component from the demodulator output. This filter will allow only the DC part to pass through it, which is used as AGC voltage. This AGC voltage, that is automatic gain control voltage, is then applied to the RF and as usual as well as IF amplifiers to control their gain automatically. The simplest and best amplitude demodulator is the diode detector. The AM signal is rectified by a diode and then filtered by a capacitor to recover the envelope, which is the original modulating information. Now the next part, basic idea of AGC, that is automatic gain control. It is generally observed that as a result of fading, the amplitude of the IF carrier signal at the detector input may vary 30 or 40 dB. At a carrier minimum, the loudspeaker output becomes inaudible and mixed in noise. On the other hand, at the carrier maximum, the output of the loudspeaker becomes intolerably large. So, the simplest and most effective means adopted to balance the fading is the AGC. It is used in all broadcast and radio receiver. Also, there are some principles of AGC. Number 1, to derive by rectification of carrier voltage in a linear diode detector a DC voltage proportional to the carrier amplitude. And next, to apply this DC voltage as a reverse biased voltage at the input of the RF amplifier, frequency mixer and the IF amplifier. Thus, now if the carrier signal amplitude increases, the AGC bias increases and the gain of all the tuned stages preceding the detector because resulting in decrease in carrier amplitude at the input of the detector, bringing it back to its original or normal value. Bringing it back to its original or normal value. I think this is clear to all. Now, the next part is linear diode detector with simple AGC. Figure shows the circuit of a linear diode detector with capacitor filter and simple AGC. In this circuit, the half wave rectified voltage is developed across load resistor R. Capacitor C filters the RF components, due to which only the DC and the modulating frequency voltage are obtained across the resistor R. The DC component is removed from the output by the use of CC, that is coupling capacitor, and AGC is picked up from the diode end of the load resistor R. But since this voltage consists of modulating frequency component as well, therefore an AGC filter consisting of a series resistor RA and shunt capacitor CA is used to remove the modulating or baseband frequency component, and thus leaving only a positive DC voltage. So, the time constant of this AGC filter is suitable selected to remove all modulating frequency components. This time constant RACA must be large enough to remove the lowest modulating frequency component from the AGC bias. However, AGC must be, on the other hand, small enough to enable the AGC bias to follow the change in carrier amplitude. I think this is clear to all. So, this is the AGC characteristics curve. The AGC characteristics, that is the curve giving audio output of receiver plotted against input carrier voltage. For different cases, simple AGC is given by the curve here, simple AGC, delayed AGC given by the another curve, and there is a curve of ideal AGC and at no AGC case. I think this is clear. Now, the next part is delayed AGC. Simple AGC systems discussed till now suffer from a major drawback, that the AGC becomes operative even for very weak signals. The result of this is that the receiver gain starts producing the output. On the other hand, an ideal AGC system must remain inoperative until the input carrier voltage reaches a reasonable large predetermined voltage. So, if a delay is produced in AGC operation, then it serves some purpose. What? That it shows an arrangement to produce delay in AGC operation. with 0 and small signal voltage diode D2 conducts, due to which the AGC bias just equals the potential of cathode of the diode. Hence, AGC remains fixed at a low positive value. As the input carrier voltage increases, the AGC bias produced due to rectification of carrier voltage in diode D1 increases. Also, when this bias magnitude exceeds the magnitude of the positive cathode voltage of D2, then D2 stops to conduct and the AGC system works normally. In FM demodulator, there are two types. One direct type, another one indirect type. In direct type, there are two parts: frequency discriminator and zero crossing detector. And in indirect type, there is PLL, that is phase locked loop. Now, the next part is Foster-Seeley discriminator or phase discriminator. This is the diagram of Foster-Seeley discriminator. So, Foster-Seeley discriminator is derived from the balance modulator. Then, here we will find that the diode and load arrangement is same in both the circuits, balance lobe detector and Foster-Seeley discriminator. However, here the primary and the secondary windings both are tuned to the same center frequency Fc of the incoming signal. Even though the primary and secondary tuned circuits are tuned to the same center frequency, the voltages applied to the two diodes D1 and D2 are not constant. They may vary depending on the frequency of the input signal. So, when input frequency, that is Fin, equals to Fc, the individual output voltage of the two diodes from D1, that is V1, and diode D2, the voltage is suppose V2. So, the output voltage V1 minus V2 equals to 0, and when Fin greater than Fc, the phase shift between the primary and secondary winding is such that the output of D1, that is the output voltage of D1 V1, is higher than the output voltage of D2, that means V1 greater than V2. So, output voltage will be positive, and when Fin less than Fc, then the output voltage of D1 is lower than the output voltage of D2. So, the output voltage will be negative, and this is the frequency response curve. You can see here. There are some advantages, that linearity is better, and number 2, it is more easy to align than the balanced slope detector, but noise is the main drawback. The demodulator output responds to them and also produces some error. Now, the basic concept of ratio detector and its circuit. Ratio detector is another frequency demodulator circuit. If we compare this circuit with the Foster-Seeley discriminator, we will find that these two circuits are identical except for the following changes. Number 1, the direction of diode D2 is reversed. Number 2, a large value of C5 has been included. And number 3, the output is taken somewhere else. It can be shown that the ratio detector output voltage is equal to the half of the difference between the output voltage from the individual diodes D1 and D2. Hence, similar to the phase discriminator, the output voltage is proportional to the difference between the individual output voltage. Due to this reason, the operation of the ratio detector is identical to the phase discriminator. There are also some advantages, that easy to align, very good linearity, and limiter is not required. And now the question is, what is limiter? So, a limiter is a circuit that allows signal below a specified input power or level to pass unaffected while attenuating the peaks of stronger signals that exceeds the threshold. Limiting is a type of dynamic range compression. Limiting is a process by which the amplitude of a signal is prevented from exceeding a predetermined value. Limiters are common as a safety device in broadcast and live sound application to prevent sudden volume. Now, the part is automatic frequency control. AFC is a method or circuit to automatically keep a resonant circuit tuned to the frequency of an incoming radio signal. It is primarily used in radio receivers to keep the receiver tuned to the frequency of the desired station. In radio communication, AFC is needed. Why? Because after the band pass frequency of a receiver is tuned to the frequency of a transmitter, the two frequencies may drift apart, interrupting the reception. Assuming that a receiver is nearly tuned to the desired frequency, the AFC circuit in the receiver develops an error voltage proportional to the degree to which the receiver is mistuned. So, the error voltage is then fed back to the tuning circuit in such a way that the tuning error is reduced. AFC, this is the block diagram of AFC. You all know the part of this block diagram, that is mixer, fast mixer, second mixer, fixed local oscillators that is used for carrier signal, VFO, you all know that. And AFC was mainly used in radios and televisions. This is clear to you, I believe. And the next part, PLL, this is indirect type of FM demodulator. So, a PLL is primarily used in tracking the phase and frequency of the carrier component of an incoming FM signal. PLL is also useful for synchronous demodulation of AMSC signals. PLL is also useful for demodulating FM signals in presence of large noise and low signal power. PLL is basically a negative feedback system. It consists of three major components: R multiplier, a loop filter and a VCO connected together in the form of feedback loop. And now the working principle is the operation of a PLL is similar to any other feedback system. In any feedback system, the feedback signal tends to follow the input signal. We all know, if the signal feedback is not equal to the input signal, the error signal will change the value of the feedback signal until it is equal to the input signal. The difference signal between here ST and BT is called an error signal. So, error ET equals to ST minus BT. A PLL operates on a similar principle except for the fact that the quantity feedback is not the amplitude but a phase phi t. The error signal is utilized to adjust the VCO frequency. At this point, the two signals ST and BT are synchronized and the PLL is locked to the incoming signal ST. I think this is clear to you. So, if you have any doubt, please feel free to reach me anytime. Thank you.